Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the EOcafe, where the EO community meet. This is our 70th EOcafe. It's the last one of 2023, but it's our 70th EOcafe in total. Just a quick reminder, please keep your microphones turned off unless I ask you to join the conversation or you're asked to join the conversation. But you're very welcome to leave your cameras on. It's always good to see people. And that was the original goal of the EOcafe. And if you have a question, please put it into the chat. You can also put comments into the chat, but just enter your question into the chat. We have an idea what's coming up, and I'll ask you to join in and pose your question if we get to that point. So we'll see. We have an hour, so we'll have an interesting discussion, I think. And today we want to talk about CASSINI and the impact of CASSINI on the environment, and we have two particular guests to talk about that. But I've recently been reflecting on the difference in financing between space companies in Europe and space companies in the US. And I think there are two major differences. There are many differences, but two significant ones. One, the dynamism and the co-location of skills. So a sort of Porter cluster of high tech that we see in the US, and the civil defense relationship, which comes up all the time. It's a little bit less in our sector, but I used to work for Airbus, and of course there it came up just literally all the time. The relationship between the companies who were doing commercial business, but also supported through defense contracts in the US. And of course, we don't have the same setup in Europe. We've got no overall European defense policy. The companies are much more scattered. We have the 27 countries in the EU. So as a result of all this, companies in the US are on much higher financial ratings than they are in Europe. It's distorted by the Goliaths, the Googles, the Microsofts, etc. But even lower down the value chain, or the values of the companies are still rating at financial ratios which can be as much as 50% higher in the US than in Europe. And of course, this is a big advantage when it comes to investment. One of the reasons surely is a reflection of the access to capital, which makes it much easier, and also the defense contracts, which I mentioned earlier, which of course act in the form of anchor tenancies and give companies sort of some assured future business and support longer term private investment. I've mentioned in Europe, we're spread more thinly geographically, so there's not the same concentration, which is both a strength and a weakness. And another factor, I think, is the market take-up. The EIB have published a report, and they've reported that companies, not in the space sector, but in all sectors, are much less digitalized than they are in the US. So there's much weaker uptake of digital technology. This is in the private sector. And as you know, most of our business, or 50% of the EO business, is with the public sector. And surely the problem must be even greater there in terms of digital uptake. So these are some of the challenges where we face. I'm currently working on a report under the SEBS project, where we're using the analysis of the SEBS cases to draw some conclusions around the uptake. Why some organizations have taken on board EO service, EO technology, and why others haven't, and what are the positives and what are the barriers. So that's something we'll publish early next year, I imagine. But one factor, again, is surely the digitalization and the presence of agencies which are promoting digitalization, or of cross-departmental projects to introduce digital technology are very much a factor in the uptake. Now, one way that Europe has tried to address this is through the CASSINI program. It's not at all the same scale of financing as in the US or in other parts of the world as well, but it's still a very significant program, €1 billion over 7 years. Fiammetta will maybe clarify some of those figures. And we had an EOcafe 2 years ago in 2021, 10th of June, where we had Thomas Jonsson from the Commission talking about the launch of the Cassini program. So it was before the launch, but he came and told us what the plans were. And now, 2 years on, since it really kicked off, we want to come back and revisit it. And we have a very special reason for doing that as well. So Cassini is being managed by EUSPA in Prague. So it's with great pleasure that I welcome Fiammetta Diani to the EOcafe, who will tell us more about Cassini, where we are, what the lessons are, and particularly the result of the first Cassini challenge on maritime solutions to help deal with the problem of plastics in our oceans. So I'm also pleased to welcome Thomas Heger from EOMAP, founder and CEO of EOMAP, which was one of the 3 winners of this first challenge. So we'll hear about that. We'll hear about the experiences and how that's impacting on Thomas and EOMAP. So without further ado, let me just now invite our 2 guests just to introduce themselves to you and say a bit about their background, and then we'll come on to talk about Cassini. Fiammetta, perhaps you would like to just kick off.
Thanks, Jeff, and good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to be back to the EOcafe after some time. So my name is Fiammetta Diani. I work at EUSPA, the EU Agency for the Space Program. I'm now in Prague. Prague used to be very beautiful a few days ago, full of snow, fairy tale, but now it's gray again. So like in Brussels, I understand, Jeff. And so what about me? So my background, I have a technical background. I'm engineer, aerospace engineer, but I'm working since many years more on the business side of how to use space data. And so that's really my field. I joined the agency back in 2009. So I'm one of the builder of our agency as it in its actual shape. And I lead a team, a fantastic team that is doing market and user uptake, and also the research and innovation on all the downstream part, on the usage of our space data in Europe today. And today there is some people here with me that may interact with you after of my team. There is Leila, Justina, and Edward that will join the conversation at a certain point.
Oh, very, very welcome to. Thanks, Fiammetta. But Thomas, you need to unmute.
Yes, done. Thank you. So hello everybody, my name is Thomas Hege. I'm founder and CEO of company EOMAP. EOMAP is already 17 years in the market, so especially in the water markets, I guess I can say that we significantly built this market in different market verticals worldwide. Have established this. So I'm a physicist by education, but I'm in this field of water since 30 years. So directly after my studies, I went into water-related institutes, interdisciplinary research at that time. Then I was more than 10 years at the German Aerospace Center, of course. At that time, developing, also starting to develop these kind of processing chains targeted then to applications, as I always came from were bounded to these interdisciplinary applications. And then when finally founding the company then 17 years ago, there was a good driver to try to serve something. But of course, the market was not yet there. But as usually with some luck, directly a few months after foundation of the company, pipeline routing, offshore industry came along. And so we could really begin with the first services since that time and evolve this market in different market verticals that are running under the topic of water and are widening up significantly these times. Yeah, I'm happy to be here to discuss this.
I'm sure we could have a very interesting discussion about the evolution of the market over 17 years as well and the way it's changed. But we'll put that aside and let's see if we have time. But the subject today is Cassini, as I've said, program launched by the Commission and run under the European Space Programmes Agency. So Fiammetta, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about how Cassini is going, what the experiences are from the first 2 years, and what's going on.
Yes, indeed. I'm happy to present a bit what we are doing, and especially Cassini makes me very proud because I think we achieved quite a lot in a very short term. So we started from the challenge. The challenge is, as you explained in your introduction, there is a difficulty of access to finance. Our startup and entrepreneurship ecosystem was not very vibrant as in other regions, so we wanted to boost it. And this is initiative of the European Commission, Commissioner Breton, to have 1 billion euros dedicated to this in these different instruments that I will explain. Let me just say a few numbers so that I give an impression of what happens after 3 years. So we actually have around 600 new startups in our network. We supported directly 300 of them. And these startups succeeded also to raise private capital around 300 million, and this come on top of our money that are of an order of magnitude smaller. So I think that's quite an interesting first achievement. And we are really creating a new generation of space entrepreneurs in Europe that are new in our space club. We think that this new energy and new force are essential to innovate. And we consider Cassini also important tool for Earth observation ecosystem. As you know, we have also the challenge to make Copernicus more use of Copernicus in business and commercial sector. So we are exploring banking, finance, pharmaceutical, and Cassini is also a tool to bring this new disrupting concept inside the Earth observation domain. But if you like, I can explain a bit what are the instruments of Cassini, so our audience can have an orientation before.
Yeah, please do.
And Tanya, if you can share the one slide that I prepared so that it will be easier. Okay, so Cassini follow a bit all the cycle. We say the 360-degree cycle of the startup. So for the very early stage, so when a startup comes only with an idea or a concept, but especially in the part of scale up, so to make them successful with investors, successful in the market. So one of our tools that you may have experienced is the hackathons and the mentoring we provide together with hackathons. We had already today, from when we started 2 years ago, 60 of these hackathons in 10 editions all around Europe, so quite substantial. We tackle different domains from humanitarian aid to Arctic, but also to defense that you were mentioning before. And this is a kind of factory of ideas. Then when the startups are mature with their ideas, we have the challenges and the prices that you were mentioning before. One we will hear today especially, that was the special challenge on plastic at sea and in the ocean. But we have also today opened our Cassini Challenge that tackle different topics, and it's one of the opportunity open. So we'll go back to it, but February is the first deadline for prototypes, and April is the second deadline for products. So I will go back to it because this is very interesting for the people connected. This help the startups to arrive to a more mature product ready for the market. Then we have the investment. And there, Cassini is providing a seed and growth funding facility that we implement together with the EIF, the European Investment Fund. And up to date, already 8 venture capitalists are part of this initiative. And as USPA, we're also creating a network of venture capitalists that are kind of educated, pass me the term, to invest in space. So they know the advantages, but they know also what are the limitations, so they are not blocked by them. And for this, we have this capacity building that you see on the right side of the screen, in which we supported the venture capitalists to invest in space. And now we're exploring also the other areas like corporate ventures that are also new players in the field. Then we do matchmaking. So we matchmake the startups with potential investors, but also with corporates that may, let's say, industrialize or scale up their solution. And finally, we support the startups also with a business acceleration. So here we have already 40 startups in the program that were receiving this year 6 months of very intense business coaching with a success manager that helped them, and they do business safari and they get really prepared for the investors. In the frame of Cassini, we have also some other interesting initiatives, such as a space stock exchange index that we created in cooperation with European Space Agency. And we have the IOD in orbit demonstration campaign, a ticket for payloads to go in orbit.
Fiammetta, hello?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, somebody muted me. I don't know why.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Did you lose something of what I was saying?
Well, you just suddenly stopped, and I wasn't sure if you were finished, but you were muted. So
No, I was muted, but by mistake, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know where I left, but I was saying that on top of the major instrument of Cassini, in Cassini there is also, for example, the dynamic purchasing system for the contributing mission of Copernicus. So this is where we play the anchor customer, and where we permit to also our companies to have contracts on top of the other kind of support. And we worked on the space stock market index and so on. So it's a set of instruments, really 360 degrees. And the USPA is the right arm of the Commission in the implementation. So you will hear from us about all the opportunities open later on in our conversation.
Okay. So, I mean, I think it would be interesting. Maybe we can come back a little bit on where the specific opportunities are for companies moving forward. But before doing that, let's pick up on the success. So you launched a challenge on plastics, and these are challenges. It's not just Earth observation. It's broader than that.
Yeah.
Space technologies. You launched challenge. I think the prize pool was something like 2.8 million euro.
Yeah.
Something
Three
like
prizes, almost 1 million each. So
yeah,
quite a high ticket, let's say.
So I mean, it's a very significant prize, and we're happy that one of the winners of those prizes is also a member of EARSC, and we have Thomas with us here today. So Thomas, what's it like to win? What does it do for EOMAP to win a prize like that?
Yeah, again, thank you for this prize. Of course, so there are two things that I directly come into my mind. It is surely the awareness on the topic. That's because yes, we see this boost and all on awareness. But then there is a direct impact, of course, on the equity. Surely this has an impact, and as we are strong growing companies in these times, we are equity multiplied in past times. But what we do essentially, even if we run very profitable, we burn money in this growth phase, and this directly is impacting our international growth, and by just directly supporting as if we would go for investors, then also take this money. So that means it's for us a direct boost of the growth pattern that we are after.
Yeah, so I mean, effectively, it's a direct boost to the investment in the company. It's a direct investment, but one where you don't need to give away any equity or take on any covenants. So it's a very very attractive financing of the company. Was it a hard competition to enter?
Well, we didn't know, of course. You never know if there's such a competition. Of course, we now learned a little bit better about the market segments here in the areas offering that. So we were especially very happy that we were selected as a company providing an integrated solution of the participants, because that's equivalent with our vision, how we changed a few years ago from selling Earth observation information products essentially to increasingly sell full solutions directed to the market verticals that we are addressing. And this price, in our understanding, of course, we don't know what were the different motivations and drivers and of the jury, but in our interpretation underlines the same understanding that it makes absolutely sense to invest, because if you said in the beginning digitalization is a driver in US and also here, that's the key of it is an old story, I would say. Also, if I discussed with other companies, so long established companies with not only Earth observation capabilities, that integration is the key, because Earth observation is usually a part of the solution, not the full solution. But if you want to penetrate deeper with those clients, yes, we have to provide very easy solutions. And that's exactly what we did with the plastics. We integrated it to the maximum where it makes really sense, and also where directly we could take and profit also from other digital online integrated online tools, which I think made it then maybe easier for us to really position as well. And yes, we of course loved to be selected here, because what is not visible to everybody, there's in the backbone, there's of course a lot of technology where we increase and where we see it is taken up by different markets, so and needed. So again, what is needed in these times to grow a digital market is integration, and that's what I think were then hopefully as well then selected for.
Yeah, and Thomas, let me confirm there was a bigger competition, and I heard from my team that your team that participated to the challenge was the one with the most gender balanced team. Is it true?
Oh yes, no, that's where if you look, well, happy if once you come over, but we are a very balanced team. So in the past, I think 5 years, we are a woman-powered company. I could even say this. So if I think you know, and Leila also know of several of my directors, and then
yeah, we appreciate this diversity, and I think it brings a lot of value. So congratulations for this as well. And about maybe Jeff, about this digitalization you were mentioning. Indeed, we do observe that there is a certain fragmentation and immaturity of the demand, especially for Earth observation-based application, and we are working around it. We do believe, for example, that we have today in Europe certain vertical policies that can make a boost to aggregate this demand. For example, the deforestation-free value chain recent directive, but this is a regulation. This is one of the examples. We are working on others that may help to bring a bit wider demand, so that the companies that are here represented, they don't have only their, let's say, relatively small market or very personalized, but that they can have, as Thomas was saying, an easy solution that can go on a wider market. Of course, the challenge of plastic at sea is in our Earth is one of the problems that we would like really to see a contribution from space to be solved.
And how different were the solutions proposed? What was the sort of the variety? And I'll throw a sort of subsequent thing, because I just realized I don't know how. Was it essential that Copernicus data was being used in each of the solutions, or was that a requirement?
So the challenge was open to all the EOspace components. Of course, there was a certain presence of the Earth observation, but we received also different technologies and integration, especially of the different technologies. So, and we valued it quite a lot. Leila, would you like to come in and say the differences among the solutions, maybe?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, my video is slowly starting. So yes, we had a very interesting mix of different approach to the same challenge. For example, EOMAP really stood out in terms of combining Earth observation data with crowdsourcing. So let's say some sort of live citizen science pictures and focusing on the rivers being a main input of plastics for plastic pollution, whereas some of the other winners focused on, let's say, advanced AI classifications to discriminate the different types of plastics pollutions, because this is also something, a critical information that is used then in tackling this pollution challenge. I can say that the third winner, Geomatis, focused on using some of the Copernicus Marine Service to be able to forecast where the plastic would drift, because this is also a key issue to be able to collect it, not only to locate it at a certain time, but to predict where it's going to go. And this was also a very interesting approach of the three winners, of which I'm very proud again, and would like to renew my congratulations to EOMAP here and to any other of the winners if they're listening here in the call.
Great. So what next, Fiammetta? What you mentioned, I think there are 3 challenges open. Perhaps you can just say a few words about that.
Yes, so we have now open the other Cassini challenge. So it's a bit different from the maritime prize, where we have a big ticket. Here it's relatively smaller ticket, but they target more startups. So we are going to give support to a larger community. And now we closed already the challenge for the ideas. So if you have an idea, you need to wait for next year. But we are still open for what concern the prototype and the product, because we organize our challenge in 3 phases, depending on the maturity of the startup who wants to enter. So if the startup are there with their prototype or products, that's still open, and it will be open till February for the prototype, and since April for the commercial product. So I invite you to have a look. My colleagues will post the information on our Cassini challenge. There are also there different topics from green to deep tech and different areas in which you can enter. But the most important for us is that you are convinced of your business plan, of your product, because the reason why you enter in this challenge is not to have a prize. I mean, that will help. It helped more in the maritime prize. But you enter in a sort of acceleration program in which we will help you to arrive to the right investor. And also at USPA, what we do, we have a sort of service we provide for the startups, also the one that don't enter in the challenge, but that want to be supported to use space. We assign one of our person that will help them to follow in all the cycles. So this is also another way to enter in Cassini that is not linked to the open challenge. So I invite you also to explore this other possibility. And and we will open also a new business accelerator for the ones that are more mature. So this is another opportunity that will come soon in the first quarter of next year. As well as we will start again the matchmaking again in Q1 next year, and we will start again the hackathon. So we close now a cycle and we will start a new cycle. So it's several opportunities indeed that are open.
So there are ideas which are basically, if I remember rightly, TRL something 1 to 3 or 4. There are prototypes which are TRL 3 to 6. Yeah. And then there are products which are above a TRL level of 6. So there's something there for everybody, and the prizes are different according to the level of maturity.
Indeed. And it's not only the prices in money, is also the mentoring and coaching and entering. It is I think that for example in the case of EOMAP, it was also very important boost of visibility. So I remember also that in Süddeutsche Zeitung, there was this the $1 Million app, and this also brought certain visibility and boost in attention. And also I understood from Thomas, it permitted also to have more talents applying for EOMAP, because this is always the problem, not to have the right talents then to grow our business, our startup. So it's just not only the price, it's really to enter in a sort of, let's say, virtuous machine that will help the startup to
yeah, I was going to ask Thomas, I mean, what sort of reaction that got, what sort of awareness of EOMAP were you able to generate using the fact that you won the prize? Was a good communication and publicity?
Yeah. No, the mechanism is correct. So what is directly relevant to us is, of course, next to the money, like as Fiametta said, visibility, then also here in the local region, so like with the newspaper, and actually while we are hiring 1 to 2 people per month, and we don't see issues to find good people yet. So and we are really, I think, a high-tech expert company, and that's I take this. We realize it's a mechanism because more and more people have heard about us, and as said, that's important in these times, that you have a brand that you recognize, of course, the kind that we work together, and yeah, that I think we take advantage of exactly that.
And particularly entering into other markets outside of Europe, in Europe, but outside of Europe especially, the awareness and the sort of cachet of winning the prize, I think, would help quite a lot.
Yes, well, we got a lot of response on that, so we
Right.
were astonished how much people look after that. So, for example, yeah, for the LinkedIn networks, which are surely important at the B2B market, for us, we saw the impact, and that's exactly what we want to see. So it is another, yeah.
So business boost, let's say.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Jeff, maybe that's important point also, no? That what we do at EUSPA since many years is the market, no? It's not, we are known for this really verticals. So we have today 15 market segments that we follow, each one with a specific expert that helps to develop the market. So from transport, climate services, but also health, banking, finance. And there we do the link. So Cassini is not an isolated tool. We want to promote entrepreneurship, okay, fair enough, but it's linked with the market. So we support also the startups to get the right customer, to understand better in which market they want to go. And we do this liaison that I think it's our, let's say, added value for the companies and the startups to join us.
Yeah. And it
So
targets, so I saw the questions here. Maybe we come back later to this in the chat. So about
well, I was just before turning to the questions. I was just going to very simply ask, others looking to enter the competition. Obviously, you still retain an interest, but what sort of advice do you have for others looking to win such prizes?
Yeah, but first point is always look to your own business, what is relevant to do. There's no other reasoning to concentrate on just winning a prize, I think, because yeah, it's rather relevant that you generate your own turnover and your own earnings, of course, of your business, and get into that market. That's clearly nothing over that, I would say. But if this is a line, and I think what we realized in the past few years from the European organizations, that there is more and better market orientation, so that means where we can combine really these forces. And in that sense, it was relatively easy for us to apply, and of course, yeah, we discussed already the benefits. Yeah, no, well, the same as with other money from like ESA and governmental organizations, which is not directly related to the market. It has to align with your market strategy.
Yeah.
So not the other way around.
I mean, happily, the theme of the challenge aligned very closely with your business objectives. So yeah. that was a very strong positive.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Reinhard has Wolfhardt, I'm sorry, has put a number of questions in the chat. But I wanted to pick up the last one about coaching and the links between coaching and the investments. Reinhard, why am I keep saying that? Wolfhardt, please join us. You just need to unmute. There you go.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now. I'm actually joining you from Ottawa here, from my favorite little cafe nearby, which I switched to. What I wanted to put into the discussion is, well, first of all, it's kind of a question. Is there a similar program part included with CASSINI that provides a longer-term coaching and coaching that actually takes startups, but also established companies, into new markets with their new products? Is this really part of it? Let me ask that question first, then explain what I'm trying to get at with the Canadian IRAP program, which luckily I had been part of a couple of times in the past too. So is this part of CASSINI as well, and to what degree?
Yeah. So thanks for the question. So as I was explaining before, one kind of support we provide to the startup, we really take them along the journey. So we have one person that will follow them, that will provide support along all the journey. They survive and decide to scale up. And so it's a kind of long term. So we don't want to just follow the startup during our price or during a phase, but it's more long term. Then it's up to the startup if they want or not. So the answer is yes. It's not a coaching just to have it, but it's and in doing it, as I was saying, our expertise is on the markets. So it's really there that we can make a difference and try to liaise the startup with potential customers, with potential, let's say, especially corporates or venture corporates that will guide them also through the scale up pattern. So this is a bit what actually we are doing.
Microphone, Wolfhardt.
Can't unmute myself now. Okay, it said a host would like you to unmute. Okay, so it was muted. Some accident here again. Same thing as we had before. The Canadian NRC IRAP program. NRC is the National Research Council of Canada, as you may know, and part of the Federal Department of Industries and Economics. The Canadian IRAP program exactly does that as well, but I think the main difference is that there are no challenges, no competitions usually put out by IRAP, but it's kind of a constant open call funding and support program. The way it works is, and that's why I said, well, maybe it's worth taking a closer look at it. There's a lot of information online if you go to the NRC and NRC IRAP websites. The way it works is you issue under this open call any kind of proposal that is a technology development or market introduction proposal by your company. It doesn't even have to be a startup. There's even very mature companies like McDonnell Douglas, which is Canada's space corporation, getting support through IRAP. And this can go up to $3 to $4 million a proposal. And then the proposal is evaluated by a committee at IRAP, and then decide upon whether this will be funded or not. When I say funded, it's not just the funding. Along with the funding, you get assigned a so-called ITA, which is the Industrial Technology Advisor. Now, that being said, it's not just technology technology advice that you get, but you usually get 2 or 3 experts that take you through your technology, that are experts in your technology. Then you have another one who helps you with actually designing a business plan, and another one who takes you to market, and this can take 3 or 4 years. So it is a complete program. It has been highly successful here in Canada. So maybe there's some elements that could still be beneficial to CASSINI.
Thanks for the suggestion. We will look inside it. I see some similarities with what we are doing, as I was explaining before in the business acceleration and in this coaching and mentoring. And also, let me maybe take the opportunity to remind that we do not have only CASSINI. So, for example, now we have opened the Horizon Europe third call. We already have 2 of them, where there the tickets are bigger, of course. No, it's normally project around 3 million. And there is a part dedicated to Copernicus as well, the part dedicated to navigation and transversal topics. And this is for all the kind of companies. We really invite SME, but it's really for the industry as well. So we don't actually have an open call all the time, but almost, let's say, because with all these things put together, it's very similar.
Yeah, Wolfhard, if you could mute, there's quite a lot of background coming from your cafe, I'm afraid. And we've got some other questions in the chat. Tony Sefton has a very, very specific question, so let me just put that. But Tony, feel free to come in and comment afterwards. So Tony's asking about the eligibility of the UK now or in the future.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff and Fiammetta. Yeah, I mean, I've done some mentoring for CASSINI in the last couple of years, but I'm aware that under the programme, UK companies as it stands are not eligible. I mean, the good news, of course, was 2 or 3 months ago when the UK rejoined the Horizon Europe programme. Has there been any indication of the UK's willingness to possibly participate in CASSINI?
Yeah, so CASSINI doesn't have a budget. It's not a component of the space program, as we say. So it doesn't have a dedicated budget. It's taking budget for different components and from Horizon Europe. So it depending on the specific instrument. When we make it, we take budget from these different sources. UK companies will be eligible for the part that are funded under the Copernicus budget and the Horizon budget. If there is a Galileo budget, of course, that part will not be eligible for obvious reason. But yes, we start to see already now UK companies coming in. We had also participation in the Maritime Prize, and so it's not that they are not eligible. They're not eligible for certain part of it.
Okay, because I was looking on your website just as you were speaking, and the way it's stated there implies that UK companies are not eligible. It's only, I think, Iceland and Norway outside the EU that can. So that has to be changed, does it?
Yeah. The next year there will be a change of these. To the contributing countries such as Norway and Switzerland are already part of it, and UK will be as well. So, but for the part related where UK participates, so as in Europe and Copernicus.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Fiammetta. So a question from Ricardo in Spain about matchmaking. Ricardo.
Hello, good evening. Yes, well, my question was regarding matchmaking. We would like to register to this platform, and then we would like to know if they request kind of technical report to describe our project or a specific project, or is it more about company presentation or portfolio, what we have to fill in?
Yes, so first of all, I think the matchmaking will be reactivated at the beginning of next year. And normally, I mean, I talk under the control of my team. If somebody wants to come in to give the more specific explanation on the practicalities, but in general terms, the matchmaking is more about you as a company. No, you don't have to go there with a specific technical presentation of a product or idea. It's more to understand you better so that we can then matchmake you with the right partners.
All right, so it would be more applied to yes, portfolio, whatever. I mean, the experience of the company, what we can offer, and yeah, what matchmaking actually we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, all right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Thomas, did I just see you raise your hand? I flipped past it very quickly.
Yes.
A virtual hand rather than.
Genau. I would like to come back with the company perspective from what was discussed with Wolfhard, and also maybe not fully discussed, but the point that OISPA or organizations are pushing through European user organizations the demand. So like if we ask, do we have similar programs on the defense side, which of course are huge in US, that means defense is making programs where you can apply, also submit your own programs, similar as in Canada, then to propose to these organizations certain new services and elements. That's different as if you would make a new grant program or whatever or similar, because it's oriented to the state organizations. And I would this is also different if you would like apply through the entrusted entities of Copernicus. That's a very different way. And I see we have not very much this in Europe.
Yeah.
But like if OISPA would support European Environmental Agency, EAR, for example, in such things to test out and integrate things, such things that would boost the companies and not more or less all the organizations around that apply for the Copernicus programs in a larger group. And I like this idea very much.
So are there, I mean, the question relates the comment that Wolfhard made, which was a sort of comment question about whether environmental priorities could in some way replace the defense pool that exists in the US, and sort of to replace some of the budget. I mean,
That's an additional question. That's a question about how you evaluate the different markets. So like the environmental market versus, because these are different markets. Yeah, well, my opinion may be just a fraction, of course, but because usually it is said, yes, defense market can be huge, but it is only to certain use cases. While the environmental market, which is upcoming under the blue economy and under the requirements on the the economic change, I guess this will be huge, I have to say. So I would not rate for the next 10 years that defense market is larger than the environmental market.
No,
I
agree.
And the environmental market will grow, I'm afraid, because of the climate crisis. So
exactly.
it will, we will exit in January with our new Earth observation and GNSS market report that we are preparing. So it will be launched in January in the Space Conference in Brussels. So stay tuned. There you will have also some new market numbers. But I do agree with Thomas that we have a huge market perspective that go beyond the defense. On defense side, let me remind that we have also the European Defense Fund. So it's true that maybe it's a bit still separated in Europe, no, respect to US, the space and the defense part, but in our DG DEFIS colleagues, they also have the European Defense Fund on the other side that tackle also many industrial activities related to defense.
Yeah, but the mechanism in US fosters us also with Cassini Prize money now to faster go into presence in the US market, for example, just to understand that we have an urgent requirement on that.
The size is we're such a long way from having a defense initiative in Europe, but it must it's getting increasing attention and must also come. Okay. If there are any more questions, anyone, please feel free to join in. I'd rather try and just tie off with Cassini, and maybe we can have any general discussion a little bit afterwards if we want to talk about market. So, Fiammetta, you just
maybe I wanted to say that a couple of things for the people, more practical. So if you are interested to understand better what are the opportunities of Cassini, we have designed a specific newsletter. It's the Cassini newsletter. My colleague will put the link. And there we go really and we select what are the funding opportunities, especially in our domain, but also in other domains. So we give a service. And so you can stay tuned with what happens. So I really invite the people to join the Cassini newsletter. It's tailored for this purpose. And also one thing I wanted to say is that we celebrate every year our entrepreneurship days. We do it in Prague, Space Entrepreneurship Days. I'm proud to announce the new date. It's a prima, it's not public yet. It will be the 3rd and 4th of June, when the city is beautiful, even more beautiful than with the snow. And so you are invited till now to join us. Last year it was really vibrant ecosystem. I saw many, let's say, business ventures born in our entrepreneurship days. Somebody said the best event of the year. I don't know. So please mark on your calendar this 3rd and 4th of June. It will be the occasion to hands-on to see many startups, what they're doing, the real products, and to do it live.
The link's just been put into the chat, so that's helpful for people. But that's formally still to be announced, as if I understand then, Fiammetta.
Yes, we just.
It's not actually a link; it's just information. I see.
Yeah. It will not be announced yet for a while, but I wanted to start to say to the community because I know many people really enjoyed and found it useful. So mark the date.
Yeah, great. So, I mean, I think we're coming to the end. I don't know if give both of you the opportunity to just close off with any further remarks, and then we still have the possibility to continue in a sort of unrecorded and more open discussion. So, Fiammetta, let me just give the floor to you, and then to Thomas.
Okay, so I think I said already many things, but I would like to remind to the art observation community that as EUSPA, we want to be your partner. So to help you really to arrive to new markets, to arrive to new users, and providing the right tools and expertise that will permit you to succeed. And so we are here really to support the art observation community, and I'm very happy to receive also your calls or your contacts later on with my team and to help you, both in Cassini, but also in the other opportunities that we have at EUSPA.
Great. So I hope there's a lot of people on the call who would be reacting to that. And thanks for the invitation. Thomas, so any last messages regarding your participation and the winning of the prize?
Yeah, first of all, I love these kind of discussions, as you know. Thank you everybody for that. Then also Prague is beautiful. EOMAP headquarters is beautiful as well. It's very close to Munich.
Very good.
And this kind of marketing that is supported by OISP, also by this prize, of course, as support us very well, as we discussed earlier. So I think that's again the point. Yes, here
you'll be getting lots of visitors, I think.
People. Huh? What?
But you don't have this weather now, right?
Yeah, okay, yes, green is not at the moment, but snow, yes, wonderful snow, yeah. Okay.
Great. Thank you both very much, and we'll draw to a close at that point, so we can enjoy some of the other discussion afterwards. We also have an announcement to make, Fiammetta, regarding Expandio, which it's already been announced, but just to really confirm, the end of 2023, Expandio this year will be on the 12th and 13th of June. So the registration will soon be opening for that. It will be physical. We hope to see a lot of people coming. It's supposed, it's a networking event, but there will be the opportunity to participate remotely. I think it's very hard to have these meetings now without giving that opportunity. And of course, getting the balance between remote participation and physical participation is getting very, very hard. But I think, we like to meet, we like to have these opportunities to network, and Expand EO is created for that purpose. And so certainly hope to see a lot of you there. The EOcafe, this is the last for 2023. We'll be starting again in the new year. Remember, it's always every other Thursday at 4 o'clock. We hope to start on the 11th of January, but there is just some possibility it might get pushed back to the 18th. So watch out for the announcements on that. But in probability is it will be on the 11th of January at 4 o'clock. And as always, if you've got topics you'd like us to address, if you'd like people you'd like to hear from, let us know, and we'll try and set up the calls. We're very varied in the calls that we have, in the types of discussions that we have, and just send us your ideas if there's something you'd like to hear about. So I think it just remains to say, have a great break with your families. Have a really happy holiday, and see you all in January 2024.